Welcome back, folks. We are here on the Tier Maker website once again, and this time we have perhaps the spiciest tier list that we've done so far. Today we're going to rank the games. Every Pokemon game with an asterisk. There's some spin-offs that aren't on the list, and there's actually one or two on here that I haven't played technically. Um, but we'll get to that. So yeah, this is gonna be my order for favorite, best to worst, every single mainline Pokemon game. So we're gonna jump right into it. Uh, Red and Blue. All right, so right out of the gate, I'm gonna put Red, Blue, Yellow together, because I actually played them at the exact same time. The year that I got my very first Pokemon game, um, I guess it was the year Christmas that Pokemon Yellow came out. So I got Pokemon Red, Pokemon Yellow, and a Game Boy Color all that Christmas. It was wonderful. I appreciated the gesture. My parents didn't understand that Red, Blue, and Yellow were all almost the same game. So like, I got I got Red and Yellow. My brother got Blue and Yellow, and we essentially got the same game twice. But I still played through them both. It was great. That was a huge step in sparking the massive love for this franchise. Um, that being said, I don't know that they deserve S tier. They are wonderful games. They are the reason I started playing Pokemon games, but there have obviously been improvements since. Um, the formula is great, but there's definitely some jank in the Series 1 games. There's no special versus physical attack and defense. Every move is only a certain type as far as hitting on special and defense. The AI is whack. I think what is it? There's like, I want to say critical hit chance is tied to speed. So much buggy shit in those games, but they hold a special place in my heart. So they still get a high A. Um, Gold, Silver, Crystal. I'm putting those together simply because I have not played Crystal. Or actually, I'll just leave the ones off that I haven't played. I have not played Crystal, and I have not played um the Diamond Pearl remakes. So we'll just leave those off the list. Um, Everything else here we've played at least one of the version pairs. Actually, a lot of these I've played both, but we'll see. um, so Gold and Silver does. I'm tempted to put Gold and Silver as the first S. I have wonderfully fond memories of that game. To this day, it's the only. No, I mean them and the remakes are the only games that feature more than one region. Which fans are always clamoring for. You get to have a whole new adventure. It's one of the few Pokemon games that kind of acts as a direct sequel. I think only Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, and then Black and White 2. I think everything else is more like an alternate branch. Like Emerald is alternate version of Ruby Sapphire. Platinum's an alternate Diamond Pearl. Yeah, I don't think there's any other direct sequels. Huh. Um. So yeah. So it's. I mean, some people complain that it's a little slow. Um. I don't remember having a problem with it as a kid. I enjoyed it. Not the best Pokedex, but you do get a lot of the Kanto Pokemon coming back, so I think that makes up for it. And having double the regions, getting at the time when Gold and Silver came out, having fairly recently played the other ones, like within a year or two, it was so cool to be able to go back, fight gym leaders that you had before, and now they're just monsters with like level 60 plus Pokemon. Fucking Red is sitting on Mount Silver, king of the world. You have to try and basically beat yourself from the first game. It was awesome. Uh, so I think they get uh first S or A. First S or A. I think they get A. We'll see. We're gonna shake things up at the end. For now, they're gonna get A. Skipping Crystal, Ruby Sapphire. Ruby Sapphire gets a B. Fun games, lots of good Pokemon. Uh, Definitely lower on my list as far as ones that I've truly enjoyed. Um, Anytime I think of like Ruby Sapphire in a like critiquing sense, I always think of the IGN review of the remakes. 7.3, too much water. um, they're fine. Yeah, Pokemon Sapphire was the first game I ever played on Game Boy Advance SP. We went to Jesus, here's how old I am. The day that I got Pokemon Sapphire, I went with my mom and my brother to um, Comp USA. Pretty sure it was Comp USA, and got two Game Boy Advance SPs, and I got Sapphire. He got Ruby. Um, that store doesn't exist anymore. Uh, neither does I guess neither does the Circuit City that was in the same shopping center. God, that was a long time ago. 2003. Pretty sure that's when that game came out. Uh, yeah, good game, not my favorite. Uh, Emerald. Emerald basically does everything that Ruby Sapphire does, but better. Um, Streamlines everything. There's what, Battle Tower. Um, Story's a little more smoothed out. You actually get to interact with both teams instead of only having to pick one. Rayquaza's just awesome. Do I go first S there? I'm like trying to decide what's worthy of it. I think Emerald does get an S. Emerald was such a big step up from Ruby Sapphire. I think it's worth it. Here, let me move this down here. So it's that and that are the only two we haven't played. um, so Fire Red Leaf Green gets S tier. Fire Red Leaf Green gets the top of S tier. That is, to me, that is the quote perfect Pokemon game. If you want to show someone what Pokemon is and get a feel for whether or not they're gonna like the series, I think that is a wonderful litmus test. It has all the nostalgia of Red and Blue without all of the jank of Gen 1. It came out the same time or around the same time as Emerald did. There was a lot more as far as uh, the in-game mechanics and just the systems and quality of life improvements. Um, TMs were still single use. That's a more recent invention. HMs were still a thing, but a lot of the flow of the game, uh, Pokemon having better move sets, having better options for uh, what you can catch where. It's so good. It's such a wonderful blend of what at the time was new and old, and I think it's a great encapsulation of the franchise. Um, Diamond Pearl. Diamond Pearl, I also played the hell out of. See, it's been so long now. I kind of have a hard time putting Diamond and Pearl and Platinum separately. Um, but I think Platinum is just the better version of Diamond and Pearl. like much like Ruby Sapphire Emerald, but I think it's a little closer. I remember enjoying uh pretty much all of both. The Pokedex in Gen 4 is one of my favorites. The story is good. I mean, it's a little one dimensional, but it sometimes I kind of like Gen 4 for being a literal, like, I'm going to destroy the world to get what I want type villain, as compared to some of the newer ones that are like, they're not even villains. They're barely antagonists. Like like the Gen 7 Team Skull and the Team Star from the newest games, like those don't even really count as evil teams. They're not evil. They're just like they're just dudes that kind of bother you sometimes, which is fine. But I kind of like having a quote enemy. Um. So yeah, like Team Galactic, love the Pokedex. I think think you get an A, and Platinum gets S. Platinum actually, it's very hard for me to pick between Fire Red Leaf Green and Platinum for like that top spot. I think Fire Red Leaf Green just edges it out based on nostalgia, but like they've both been so long ago now for me. Uh, I look at them both fondly in that light and from a more objective, like how I enjoyed playing them, because I've actually played both of those again recently. Um, I did, let's see, I did a Nuzlocke in Fire Red Leaf Green. I did a Nuzlocke in Diamond and Pearl, and then I did a separate playthrough of a ROMAC version of Platinum, and just had a great time with all three. So it's not just nostalgia bias, I promise. um, but Heart Gold Soul Silver, kind of like I was saying with Platinum, it does everything the originals do better. It just does. I this is me speaking as someone who's played from the very beginning game. Yes, I know originals, OG, nostalgia, yada yada yada. This game is better. This is the better version. This is the way to play it. That one came out equivalent to Gen 5, where way more headway had been made in quality of life improvements. Uh, Transportation, you get HMs earlier. There's split special defense, physical defense. The combat makes more sense. There's way more versatile moves, or I'm sorry, move pools. So like a problem you had in like Gen 2 original, um, Toto, water, alligator, crocodile, dude, cool, awesome. He gets water gun early, and that's it. He's a physical attacker who gets no water moves until way later in the game. Like, I think he gets Hydro Pump at 60 plus, and the only other water moves you can teach him are Waterfall and Surf. Actually, it might just be Surf. I don't remember if Waterfall's even in Gen 2. But yeah, shit like that. By the time you play these ones, you definitely have like Waterfall and Surf. There's uh things that didn't have physical moves have them now. Things that didn't have special moves have them now. Vast improvement on the first one. Black and White. Black and White was really fun. Um, Black and White's weird for me because I feel like I'm very split on the Pokedex. Some Pokemon from Black and White are some of my favorites, and some of them are just like, ugh, why are you a Pokemon? What are you doing to my franchise? Like at the time, I really did not. Some of them I still don't like. But at the time, I really didn't like a lot of Pokemon from Gen 5. Um, I still really don't like the Elemental Monkeys. I think they're dumb. I don't really like uh, what's his name? What's the little one? Watchog and Patrat. Don't like either of those. I really don't like Patrat now. Even more so since I did my Nuzlocke. Um, but the story was fun. Some of the Pokemon that I really enjoy, I think, have some of the best designs. Darmanitan's awesome. The Hydreigon line's awesome. Volcarona's one of my favorites of all time now. Uh, N is one of, if not the best antagonists slash rivals in the entire series. Like he's your he's your foil, but like his intentions are good. He's basically being manipulated by Getsus the whole time, and all he wants to do is like free Pokemon from their servitude and make sure that Pokemon are happy. And he's willing to go along with Getsus's bullshit if that's what he can do to achieve his goal. Ends great. Where do we put you, Black and White? I think Black and White low A, high B. See, I don't know because I don't know if I can put Black and White 2 separately. I do think mechanically Black and White 2 are slightly better games, but narrative wise, I think the original story from Black and White 1 is a little better. But with the caveat that Black and White 2 is essentially a direct sequel, which again is like one of the only ones. There's only two. It's Gold and Silver from Red and Blue and Black and White 2. And I kind of like group them together because of that. It doesn't really make sense because you're playing two different main characters, but as like there's notes in Black and White 2 to like, oh yeah, when Team Plasma attacked 2 years ago, this went down, shit happened. This is why things have changed. This is why like Iris has been promoted to champion now. Some of the gyms are different. The fractured elements of Team Plasma are off doing different things. Gets us still fucking around. Really good story in Gen 5, I feel like. So where do we put it? I almost want to put them. God, I'm gonna have to go through and wiggle this around a little bit. I think they've got to go. I think they got to go A tier. And I almost wonder if I want to put. I'm really tempted to shift A tier around a little bit. I think A tier is gonna have some changes by the end of this. Um. All right, let's see. Gen 6 X and Y. I really enjoyed these games. I know a lot of people didn't. Um. But I had a blast with them. The evil team I think was really lackluster. Um, but the boss of the evil team, Lysander, I thought was kind of interesting. The whole storyline with AZ and the Great Pokemon War and a literal WMD, like it it was kind of a really intense story, even though it didn't have a whole lot of substance to it. Um, there's people talking now that they think the because of the location of the regions that Gen 6 games and Gen 9 games are based off of, that the terastallization crater in Gen 9 has something to do with the big crystal weapon from Gen 6. I would love to see DLC for Gen 9 bring us back to Kalos. I think that would be incredibly cool and a great way to like tie different parts of the franchise together. I don't know if they'll do it, but I would love to see it. Um, Gen 6 gave us Mega Pokemon, which I still stand is one of the best, quote, gimmicks that they've done in the last few generations. Some of those designs are amazing. Some Megaforms made other Pokemon that were completely useless, competitively anyway, uh, super viable. Like, I can't think of a time I've ever seen anybody use a Mawile, seriously. But Mega Mawile has huge power and Steel Fairy typing and wrecked things. That's another thing. Gen 6 gave us fairy types, which is like a staple now. It used to be that um, dark types and dragon types, super powerful. Super powerful. Fairy came in to shake everything up and kind of balance things out, which at the time I thought was weird, but like looking back on it, it kind of needed to happen. It like dragon types and dark types are still strong now. It's just that they have a solid check in place, so they can't run amok. Um, I think I do like Gen. I think I do like X and Y more than OG Ruby Sapphire. So I think that's gotta move. trying to think, man. I think. Okay, I think this goes up. Red, blue, yellow goes up a little bit. I think OG Diamond Pearl goes there. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. I think these go. I think these might actually go something like that. We'll get back to it. Um, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Um, I just played through. Which one did I play through? I just played through Alpha Sapphire recently as a Nuzlocke. Had a great time. Uh, the the art style's a little weird in that game because it was like it's a chibi 3D art style, and they're still trying to decide which direction they wanted to go with it. Um, but it's fine. It's way better than like the DP remakes. Um, they're fun though. We actually got some new megas in that game as well. I actually really like the post game in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire because they kind of like rolled in a little bit of Emerald and a little bit of its of original story and like made their own post game for that, where you get to team up with a new NPC and Rayquaza to fight Deoxys, who's like crashing to the earth and wanting to fuck shit up. The whole what is it called? Delta chapter? Something like that. But basically you and fucking Mega Rayquaza get to fly into space and fight Deoxys in like a Dragon Ball Z style fight, and it's really cool. Um, so definitely better than the originals in my opinion. Maybe not better than Emerald. Um, I played a lot of these recently. I haven't played Gen 6 recently. I haven't played Gen 7 recently. So maybe I should have waited to do this until then, but this is where we got it for now. Um, so Gen 7 games, I do like them, but I feel like they are noticeably my least favorite main series games. Um, I didn't really like the Island Trials that much. They like some of them were dumb. I didn't like certain restrictions on like when you could do certain things. So like they did give you cool stuff like the ride Pokemon, so you didn't have to have HM slaves anymore. And but the uh what is it? There's Grubbin Chargebug Vikavolt. You can't evolve Vikavolt until I want to say he's got to be like level 50 or 60, and you have to evolve him in a very specific spot on a specific island, which is like the last island. And I don't feel like Vikavolt is even a strong enough Pokemon to warrant such a niche, annoying like evolution method. Um, just a lot of weird stuff. Not a ton of like new Pokemon that I'm crazy about. I actually do really like Solgaleo. I think he's one of the best box legendaries. But overall, the Gen 7 Pokedex I think is one of the weakest. Um, I do think I do think Ultra Sun Ultra Moon is better than Sun and Moon. Um, the alternate universe Ultra Beast stuff that was pretty fun. I think it was a little more. I feel like they actually were like, hey, this story in the Gen 7 games could be better. And they actually reworked it into something that to me felt a little smoother. I feel like that should have been like the base game, but whatever. The Ultra Nut Krozma fight was really cool. Um, Incineroar is one of my favorite Pokemon. There's a lot of good cat Pokemon this generation, I guess, now I'm thinking about it. So yeah, let's see. I think I think C tier. They're good, they're just not the best. Um, let's go Pikachu and Eevee. I almost want to put them in D tier, and it's not even because they're bad games, because they're not. It's just it's not for me. Like it's Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is essentially a super beginner friendly dumbed down version of Red Blue Yellow or Fire Red Leaf Green. It's the Kanto adventure, but uh it's much harder to die. It's much easier to catch Pokemon. Uh I Before, like I said, if you were to like if you're going to use a game to pick as a starting point for someone to play the Pokemon franchise, I feel like Fire Red Leaf Green is that answer, with the caveat that unless the person you are trying to introduce to the Pokemon franchise is 5 years old, then maybe I could see Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because it is a much more streamlined, child friendly experience. I understand the value in it, but you know, I, I'm old enough that it's beneath me in the sense of like a gameplay challenge. So it is what it is. It's fun. I played through most of it, but I kind of got bored. I actually have to go back and check. I think that's one of the only Pokemon games I haven't completed. I think I'm on like I think I'm on Cinnabar Island. I'm trying to remember. I think what happened was I got that game a little later, um, like before the Gen 8 games came out, and I didn't start playing it until very soon to when Sword and Shield came out, and it was I wasn't getting through it fast enough. Sword and Shield came out, and then I never picked it back up. So maybe I'll go back and finish that one day. We'll see. Um, I would probably make a good little series to stream through because it'd probably be very, very fast. Anyhow, that brings us to Galar, Gen 8. Um, Sword and Shield were great, man. Sword and Shield, really like. I've never really fallen off the Pokemon franchise. Like I've played every generation when they've come out, like since they began coming out. But I feel like Sword and Shield was such a vast, wonderful improvement uh in every single way over Gen 7, that it like really like deeply reignited my love for the franchise. Um like prior to for the first time ever, prior to COVID, me and my friends were uh planning to go to a VGC regionals in my city, and the great 2020 happened, so it never ended up happening. But like we were so into the game, we were playing it every single day. We were doing max raids, we were battling each other, we were doing VGC online ladder. Gen 8 was just a really good point in time for me with this game. um I think Dynamax was fun. I still like Megas better, but I do like Dynamax better than Z moves. um I think the legendaries are pretty cool. What's a good Pokemon at Gen 8? The wild area alone, and like the precedent that that's set for the next few games, beautiful, wonderful. uh the first Pokemon game that really had DLC, also wonderful. um I'm a little torn as far as like having DLC instead of a third version, because as you can see, Platinum and Emerald are up in my S tier because I think they're some of the best games they've made. But at the same time, like having the expanded story through DLC, it makes sense. Like Pokemon Company gets to make more money off of it, but you don't feel quite as like Pokemon Company gets to make more money and you don't feel like you have to buy the same game twice. Because in certain respects that is what it is. Like if you played Diamond and Pearl, Platinum is a better version of that game, but in a lot of senses, it's the same game. So if if you can go back and like resist the urge to buy those games and then just get the third version, I feel like that'd be playing the perfect version. But DLC is fine. I think moving forward in the way video games are now, it's a good idea, and I'm really looking forward to what Scarlet and Violet has in store for that. Um, so let's see. So where do we put Sword and Shield? It's gonna go pretty high, honestly. You go S tier? I don't know, man. I really like the past like the past couple generations. Um, I think it goes A tier. I think like I A tier. Now Pokemon Legends Arceus is on this list, and I'm just gonna roll with it. I've heard some people say it's not a mainline Pokemon game. I've heard some people say it is. I don't really care what you call it. It's a fucking great Pokemon game. Um, the concept of the catch methods, the open world, which is essentially just the next step of what the Gen 8 games did. Um, the gameplay advancement with 8, then Arceus, then 9, like is wonderful. I love what they're doing with the franchise in that sense. Having like tons of mobility, tons of options for what you want to catch, where you want to catch it. It's great. I love it. Um the whole like the whole lost in time thing is kind of funny. You're basically in Gen 4 but 1,000 years in the past, and everyone's ancestors look like them, like spookily similar to them. It's really funny. Um but yeah, man, such a good game. Open world, you can sneak up on Pokemon, catch them with a Pokeball without even having to battle if you're good enough. You can fly. Like you can actually fly on a Pokemon. The like the closest we got to that before Legends Arceus was let's see, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Like three-quarters of the way through that game you get Mega Latios and you can do like an overworld fly thing, but it's not quite the same. Um, just a really fun game. I almost want. Honestly, I'm torn. I'm torn. I think low S, high A. Um, and this might be spicy, but I think Gen 9 goes up here too. I really do. Now, I understand that there were and still are a lot of technical problems with Scarlet and Violet. 100% admit it. I understand. I know why that would turn some people off. But with that being said, as far as, hey, I'm going to sit down and play a Pokemon game for like hours, that game, it sucks you in. It's so much fun. It's got the open world aspect of Legends Arceus, but with the flavor of like the regular, hey, go catch Pokemon, do battles. Like you can basically choose. You can either play it like an old classic Pokemon game, or you can kind of play it like Legends Arceus. The only thing you can't do is you don't have like the straight up throw Pokemon mechanics. But open world, the while the motorcycle Pokemon as far as being vehicles, I think is a little silly. What they offer as far as options for mobility, holy crap, dude. I never want to touch an HM again. Having a Pokemon be able to climb and run and fly and glide, it's so much fun. It's immersive. Like if you were really a Pokemon trainer in and Pokemon's world was real, like you would go get like a Dragonite because you would want to fly around. You could like hug it from hang onto its back and just fly around because it would be fun as shit. And you can do that in this game. I mean, it's limited to your legendary, but still, like The fantasy is there. It's wonderful. Um, Now I will say, and Legends Arceus, Scarlet Violet, Sword and Shield, uh, even though I haven't really played them, the Diamond Pearl remakes, Pokemon Company's got to sit down and like do some talking within themselves and uh, with the people that some of these other games are getting like uh, not licensed out to, but like outsourced to help them make the graphics quality, man. Like the the graphics engine and the performance of the games, you gotta work something out. Like it's kind of annoying when you're playing what is the ninth iteration of a game that you truly love, and sometimes it runs so poorly that you're like, man, I kind of want to go back to like the 16-bit version because I know the 16-bit version isn't going to have graphical lag. um but like that being said, even with all the problems of visuals and stuff, uh it didn't bother me enough to stop playing. I probably played, I mean, whenever I get a new Pokemon game, I sit down and play it for ages and ages and ages. But Scarlet and Violet, I feel like I played constantly as soon as I got it, every single day for as much time as I could. Um, it's a really fun game. I plan to jump back into the VGC sometime soon and take another crack at the ladder. I'm enjoying it, and I cannot wait for the DLC. So it maybe it's controversial, but it's pretty high on the list for me. So now we're gonna shake this out and finalize it. Like I said, the other two have not played them. Technically, I've played like an hour of the DP remakes, and I never actually played Crystal, so I might do that someday for a stream. But let's see. All right, so I think we're gonna move this down one. I think we're gonna move this down one. I don't know. I There's things I do and don't like between the remakes and the originals better. But like I think Emerald is still the best version of any Hoenn game, so it uh, this is the perfect version. This is prettier graphics wise, and then I feel like this is also really fun. So it is what it is. Let's see. I don't really like, to me, and maybe it's because I haven't played them in a long time, but there's no discernible difference between red, blue, yellow for me. Like, yeah, you get Pikachu, that's great, but that's it. That's like the only difference is you have Pikachu and there's different sprites. The game's basically the same. So I'm lumping those all together. Um what changes as far as nostalgia versus gameplay of like where I would put these? I think this is pretty close to the final list. Um I think maybe we bump a couple of these down. I think we go, I think that's what we're gonna go with. No, I think, mm, I don't know, man. These two are tough because these are the two that I've played most recently, and I really enjoyed them both. I'm tempted to put Arceus ahead because it's so unique, but at the same time, I think Scarlet and Violet has reached the peak of certain aspects of the Pokemon franchise, and they just work so well together. Hmm. Nah, I think Arceus gets a little, just a little bit ahead because of the fun factor, the unique factor. I think if I do this again in like a year, it might change. Um, if I play if I play Crystal or the DP remakes, and if Scarlet and Violet gets DLC, maybe things would shift a little bit, but I think this is pretty close. Um, I'm very confident with my first three: Fire Red, Leaf Green, Platinum, Emerald. They are the definitive versions for me of their generations. If you want to play Kanto, Sinnoh, or Hoenn, play those three games. Arceus is its own like fun like change to the formula. It's great. I think Scarlet and Violet is the perfect modern version of a Pokemon game. And I think everything else is right where it needs to be. I have had fun with all of these games over the years. I plan to continue having fun with all these games over the years, and you know, everything goes well. I will keep playing Pokemon for many years to come. So, yeah, geez, this one ended up taking a little longer than the other tier lists. So, hopefully you enjoyed it. Feel free to tell me why I'm right or wrong in the comments. Thank you for watching. Until next time.